coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California. It's the Sheena Metal Experience with your host, Sheena Metal.
Hi, and welcome to the Sheena Metal Experience, only on Parapod TV. I'm Sheena Metal, and I'm a psychic medium. I'm an energetic healer. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a 29-year talk radio host in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm a creative and a performing artist and a paranormal survivor. And I come to you live from my home in Southern California every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific time. This show is about creativity. It's about spirituality. It's about humanity. It's about passion. It's about service. It's about becoming and then maintaining being your best you in this big, beautiful world, and then inspiring others to do the same. And it may be my show. It is the Sheena Metal Experience after all, but that doesn't mean it's not always and forever your experience. My guests today are wonderfully talented filmmakers and musicians and spiritual beings, and I love having them here. You know them for all of their movies that stream constantly on our TVs, and their wonderful music, and they're dear friends, and I love and adore them. Please welcome the wonderful Christopher St. Booth and Philip Adrian Booth, the Booth brothers. Welcome, my friends. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good. We're just waiting for the applause to die down.
It never dies down for you. Does the applause ever die down for you?
I don't know. Let's just say there's times when it's more than less. And
this is
fortunately, there's a lot right now.
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is a time where it's more applause. So, I mean, so many of my viewers and listeners know you from all the times you've been here with me. In addition to all the other wonderful creative things you do. I think a lot of my folks know you as filmmakers, although you've often referenced that before you were filmmakers, you were full-time musicians. All of us came out of the music industry, right? Why don't you let my viewers know a little bit about this kind of exciting thing that's happened to you recently? Because it's really pretty awesome, and it's going to add to even, I think, more popularity and notoriety for you both.
Well, and then I'll let Chris explain it since he discovered it first. But he's explaining how your show's about spirituality or things going on in the universe. Well, this is a really great topic and an example of things in the universe coming to send you a message. And you can start and let you know how this started.
Thank you, universe. It took us, I won't swear, you can beep it, but 35 effing years to get on the cover of Rolling Stone.
That is so fantastic.
And we were though we didn't make the cover, but we made Rolling Stone.
I don't even know if they have a printed anymore anyway.
We made Rolling Stone a couple of weeks ago, was it? 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, we'll fill in the story. There was an article on November 23rd.
Will you both do me a favor and speak up a little bit? You're a little bit quiet.
Sure. There was an article in November of 2023 of Rolling Stone magazine, which we were completely unaware of, but I didn't want to jump ahead in the story. You'll have to go all the way back for the listeners to the 17-second clip in 2021 that we were completely unaware of.
So basically, there was a chap who had, I guess it was an app called It's That Song or something like that. And he found 17 seconds of a song. He wanted to know what it was. So he put it out to the internet, and 48,000 people joined him trying to find out who this song belonged to.
There's a society, a group on Reddit, and it has to do with the lost wave. Finding lost songs. It's become a huge fad, which none of us are aware of it. When they hear a song they love, one guy posts something, and then they get all these people that go in. It ended up being an internet search of over 48,000 users trying to find a song.
So 3 years ago, this is when it all started.
2021.
So on April 28th, somebody found our names attached to the song through our performing song publishing royalty place.
BMI.
So once they found our names out, that was it. Everybody, bombarded us, phone, text, social media, and then Rolling Stone reached out, GQ magazine, bunch of,
Wow.
big magazines and a lot of radios, and said, do you know? And I'm going, no what? We didn't know. And then there was an article somebody sent me with Reddit, and it was attached to an older article that was done in 23 in Rolling Stone about the search of these people who did this song. And then my son Gabriel said, Dad, you're God on TikTok. And I go, what are you talking about? He goes, you're everywhere. And I go, what are you talking about? And then I looked at what they were looking at, and it was our song we wrote 35 years ago.
Wow.
Somebody wrote on a post of the Exorcist File, one of our movies, release ulterior motives, release ulterior, and we look at each other. Where did they?
Well, first of all, what is ulterior?
What is that?
Didn't know.
Right.
And then there was these hashtags. Was it EKT?
Mhm.
And
Right.
we started looking at. My daughter Heather called me, said, "Dad, you're all over TikTok. You got to look at this." And we went to TikTok, and there were these hundreds of posts of people singing one of our songs we released well, we didn't actually.
Well, they were all dressed up in the 80s.
Like
singing
Madonna.
the song, Madonna.
They had the hairspray and then the bangles on, and they're singing our song.
Wow.
And we realized that they had found the creators of this song, and they were celebrating, and it hit 12.5 million views on TikTok. It became viral.
Wow. Now, I remember when we first met and you guys originally did my show, you talked about how you came to the US from the UK, right? Because you were in a band and you came out here with a deal, right? So
Yeah.
you were full-time musicians getting ready to chart. Is this that same band?
A variation of
Variation.
that.
I mean, we were in a band called Sweeney Todd. That guy named Brian Adams left the group. I became the singer. Phil became the guitar player. Our brother Johnny B was the drummer. So we, at 18, I was touring like with 20,000 people, arenas, and that band broke up. So we moved to America and started a band called Alley Brat. That was more of a hard rock band.
Okay.
When we landed and played the Whiskey, the Rainbow, the Roxy, the usual troubadour, pay to play
We
now.
actually opened up for Motley Crue.
Yeah.
Before they were really hugely popular.
And then at that point we were moving into what was called new wave music.
Yeah, I remember that. New
Spandau-
wave.
Spandau Ballet,
Right.
Cure. No, they
Culture
were
Club.
more gothic, but Duran Duran, and then we
ABC.
started doing pop music. So we were all living. You'll get a kick out of this, Sheena, in Van Nuys.
Nice. Sure.
Yeah, no, it wasn't nice, really. It was in
Yeah.
a one bedroom apartment in Van Nuys. We all
Nice.
slept on the floor, and we had a Fostex 4-track recorder, and
Yep.
we were recording songs with
Yep.
an upright piano that was out of tune. Because it's on some of the tracks. I love it because it sounds like Nine Inch Nails, but it was out of tune, not on purpose.
Right.
And then we did the keyboards and sang it, and that was a song called Ulterior Motives. And then in order for us to make money, we were doing anything. And we had a friend that was doing adult films in Granada Hills, San Fernando Valley,
right,
which
yeah.
I know you're well aware of that area
Yes.
because you're still
Yes.
there.
And that industry, I'm well aware of it all.
Yeah. So we needed the money. So they said, why didn't you come over? He's a friend. He said, we need people to lift stuff and go get the food, move cars, just PA work. I said, okay, cool. And it paid more than we were doing PA work on big films, but it paid nothing, but the adult films paid more. So we just worked on it. And then when it goes, dude, we know you're musicians. We need some music. And he goes, well, we really needed money because we had, every time we made money, we would update our recording system so it'd
Yes,
get better and
yes.
better and better till it is now behind
Right.
us. And
We
so
all started with the Fostex 4-track. I had one too.
yeah.
You would bump the track so that you could add more tracks.
Yeah, exactly.
Merge them, yeah.
And so we just said, okay, we'll let you use a couple of songs, gave us some money, and that was it. didn't think much about it. And now 35 years ago, somebody found this song that was in an
Wow.
adult film for 15 seconds, and they loved the song, and it is a great song. It's very Culture Club Wham, you know.
Yeah. Someone was trying to Shazam their porn song. And
Yeah,
that's how
well,
it all
pretty
began.
much.
I
Unfortunately,
don't know if you all know this, but one of my very first gigs out of college was I did I was a looper in porn. I did the voiceovers.
I can
So
see that.
it
I mean, I
wasn't
could
my
see
it
it.
wasn't my body, but it was my voice.
I
So
could see that. Yeah, yeah. Like
long before I ever did radio or ever thought I would do radio, it was a fantastic gig, and I've always had a lot of friends in that industry. I've always thought they were really great people. It's
They were nice.
And I
people.
bet I know what the lines were that you auditioned. It was like, "Hi, Roger."
you
And
know,
like,
it was 100% just moaning. I don't think I
okay.
ever spoke a word or said anybody's name. I just moaned for hours.
I think the most popular one was, "Hi, Roger." "Hi, Roger's friends." "Hi, Pool Man." "Hi, Pizza Boy."
Hi,
I mean,
Pizza Boy.
that's what.
It's
Exactly.
funny
Yes.
because you're talking about the looping because the 17-second clip, they were trying to find out who did the song because they just loved the song, but all it had
Yeah.
was moans and groans on top of it.
Yes.
So there was these hundreds of versions made of our song with them trying to filter out the M and G out of it, you know. And so we started getting these requests, release a clean version, release a clean version, release a clean version, until it became millions and millions and millions of
Wow.
audience, people wanting this song. And so it was quite an emotional experience because to go to a platform like that and to see so many people singing something you did 38 years ago.
It does. It warms my heart to see the kids and the teenagers dressing up like the '80s and singing
Yeah.
the song and really love the song. And you know, you know the industry very well, and Hope
Yeah.
and I has taken a lot of successes, but we got a lot of hits, a lot of bad hits back.
Yeah.
Not bad hit songs. I mean, you know, bad things that didn't happen. No,
Yeah.
a lot of no's, a lot knocking on doors and no.
Those moments where you
Oops. I think we're dancing alone.
Just nod.
Okay, so do you remember what we were talking about? Because I was just in a full tilt panic.
No, we were just talking.
Well, we can recap.
One of you was talking about the teenagers dressing up like the '80s. So why don't you
Yeah,
talk about
they
the
were all
start-
wearing. Yeah, they were wearing. All these girls and stuff were wearing bangles with the
Madonna.
teased out hair, singing our song to a microphone, and the symbol has become this pink ghetto blaster that was put up
Boombox.
by the Lost Wave Society, that has become infamous for this song. And so at this point in time, I looked at Chris and said, what do you want to do about this? They want to do a clean version. And you've got 12 and a half million.
Without your part, Sheena.
Yeah. What about my moaning in the middle?
You lost your job.
That
No,
get cut
sorry.
out?
Yeah, that was so '80s, dude.
No, it's
No.
gonna
Yeah.
it's gonna be AI now.
Yeah, it's AI.
But
I'm
So
gonna sue at some point, like the background singers from the '80s. They made millions off that song, and they took out my groans.
Yeah.
but I said to Chris, what are we gonna do? So that started now. This only started April 28th, so it's not even a month. Can you believe that? It's not even a month. It is a month. It's a month
Yeah.
Wow.
that all this has happened. And it started now the journey through 35 years of audio tapes, cassettes, and CDs to track this song down that was licensed to this one movie that everybody had to have this song. So this is where we're at now, is tracking down the song. And if we don't have the song,
Well, we have the song. We haven't been able to find a vocal track, so it's up to me to be able to sound like a 13-year-old girl again 35 years later. You see. So I'm gonna do it, but the thing is,
How about
what the spirituality of it, because I know your
Yeah.
show's about several
Yeah.
dimensions of the world. I really believe this is the universe, because who else would get a call 35 years later on the door and say, "We love that song"? And interesting because we found every other song we've done back then, except for this one, except for the vocal track. But
Mhm.
because, I've recently been getting back into music, I've taken a step away from filmmaking and really wanted to focus on what I felt for me was important, and that was doing my music. So I released an album called Sky Polar last month, and it's basically featuring all the
Opposite way.
yeah, the
Wow.
synthesizers all over this room.
Come a long way from the Fostex 4-track.
No, yeah.
Well, let's just say
Van Nuys.
it's more than 4 tracks.
Yeah,
Wow.
I have
Yeah.
actually 256 tracks behind me, but
Wow.
uh, putting that out there and focusing on old synthesizer, like something you probably didn't know. Back in the 90s, I worked for Keith Emerson, Chick Corea, and Herbie Hancock helping program and get sounds from an old synthesizer called the Fairlight emulator and all that. And that's how it led to me getting even more into designing music and sounds. So my album Sky Polo is a lot about synthesizer, Pink Floyd and Alan Parsons, and beautiful spiritual music that helps you escape and
Yeah.
helps you not have to
Expand your
joke
mind.
yourself. Yeah, take meds and run away in a fake world. Where this world, you just listen to the album, and in my hopes it takes you where I felt. Because I would went into this room, I would turn on a recorder, and I would just play 28 synths live, and then I would mix it, and it would be full of so much emotion and of involvement every time I
Yeah.
did a pass, and it actually made me feel like I'm in, on ecstasy in heaven kind of vibe. So when you listen to it, it takes you away, and I believe involved in all that helped kick the next one off, put that on the universe, and then suddenly Rolling Stone came out with this music.
And Chris has been saying to me for some time and mentioned it to me, why don't you pick guitar back up again and get playing? Our brother Johnny, he said, why don't you play guitar, and again, and I've always talked about it and never, because I'm always busy editing, writing, directing, shooting, whatever, lighting,
Always.
and so I think the power of the universe said, we're going to give you this massive push.
It
12,000,
was a push, it was a slap across the face.
12
Yeah.
million people want to hear that
Shove.
song. But ready for this, Sheena? The song isn't there. So you got to go in. What's missing? The guitar and the vocals.
And the
Drums and
vocal.
bass are there, and the keyboards and some rhythm guitar, but not the
So
main.
you have to take it.
Yeah.
So guess what you gotta
back
do?
into the business.
You got to
Gotta
go
pick
in.
guitar again, my friend. Yeah.
Out of all those songs, that's the only one. So there was an Instagram post that we just posted a few weeks back, and it's me doing the guitar track on this song that we're talking about, and you'll see me doing it. And it was really cool because back then it was important to keep the integrity of the '80s. So I still have the guitar I used back then.
Nice.
I still have quite a few guitars, and it's called a MIDI guitar, and that triggers not just a regular guitar through the jack, whether
Right.
it's crunch or metal or clean or twang,
Sure.
but a MIDI trigger and a keyboard. So
Yeah.
it had this 80s sound like Brian May kind of
Mhm.
harmonies. So we used that on rebuilding Ulterior Motives to get the guitar track exactly like it. And I have to tell you, I was in tears
Oh.
because it's been so long, 10 years since I picked it up. And it was like riding a bike. Except for my calluses. They were hot,
Right.
you know,
I'm gonna ask about your fingers if you had to get them
but
reconditioned.
I went right back into it and played it. And it was one of the biggest highs I've had in a long time was playing. People know us for our films, like you said, and what we've done, but did they realize that we were in the music industry since we were 11 years old when our older brother was playing in Sweeney Todd when Nick Gilder was singing with Hot Child in the City. He was writing songs for Scandal, the band, for the people who really know that old 70s music.
80s.
Before Brian was late 70s.
Late 70s.
They opened up for T-Rex, Mark
Wow.
Bolan, So we were 11 years old watching everything John was doing. So we were playing at 15 years old with people that were 27-year-olds in clubs. We couldn't even drink in those clubs, but we were playing, and we were good.
We were dressed up like David Bowie. We were full of it. My hair was orange. I shaved my eyebrows
luckily,
up.
you never lost your wardrobe, so you never have to sit around and think, do we have to get some new rock and roll clothes?
Well, I actually
5,000% rock and roll.
I actually posted the other day me and chaps, and they're like
there you
assless
go.
chaps, and I've got a pair of tight pants on that kind of show my bum. I have to say I don't have those chaps anymore, and I wish I did. Okay, so leather chaps.
Oh, it's been a really interesting time.
My basement are black leather chaps with a zebra leotard pants underneath.
Yeah.
You gotta love them, man. But we're talking about from a spiritual perspective. And I think one of the things, if you're an artist, so let's just take, for example, a musician that we're talking about. All the while you write the songs and you put them out and you take all the time recording them. And like you said, the disappointment after the disappointment. I mean, we were talking about that, right? All the hits that you've taken.
Yeah.
That all the things that almost happened and then blew apart.
Yeah.
And you wonder the whole time, is any of this matter? Does any of this mean anything? Is any of this going to move anybody? And now this is like a musician's dream, right? To discover all these decades later. The world is falling apart over the song, and guess what? It did mean something. It is still moving people, and you're exactly where you belong, and that must be the most amazing feeling in the world.
I think that what just happened for us, we did a paranormal show at the Ohio State Reformatory last weekend, which is why we have convoys.
I think we got COVID, Sheena.
No. Some kind of a
did you call it convoys, Chris? That's
convoys. Yeah, it's where you're talking all the time, right? So anyway, the great thing was we were at a party, and you talk about musicians. We're walking in that party, and I don't really know, who's going to be there. And up comes this chap, and he's covered in clown makeup, and he comes running up to me, and he goes right in my face. He goes, "I love that song. I love that song." No! He's a big dude covered in tattoos and makeup, clown makeup, and he goes, "And my daughter loves this song. Please sign this for my daughter Ruby." And it was Violent J from Insane Clown Posse.
Oh, wow!
So I never had met him or really knew of their music, but he was such a sweetheart, and he just came up and he said what you said, and I'm going to tell you. He said, "I'm a musician." He goes, "What happened to you?" He's tearing up. He's going, "It's so beautiful that your music, that I know what it feels like is heard now." And it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the time now, and you've always been, both of you, but you and Christopher and you and I've talked about this so much about your own psychic gifts. And it's like, you knew that universe was nudging you, for lack of a better word, to move back into music. And it started after you did your last film, and then you did the whole companion CD that went with it.
Yeah.
You really started writing and performing more and more, almost as part of a way to express your spirituality. And then lo and behold, now you're getting the commercial bump that you need to really fuel that next spiritual part of your spiritual path, right? For both of you.
Well, I would hope it's a deep subject, and I would hope that you don't need 12.5 million people or 12 people, like people who count the likes on Facebook posts. But you don't need that to know your destiny or your course. But I have to tell you something. It's like you said, a slap in the face when something you've done that long ago comes back and it's loved. Because for an artist, they live for this.
Well, you only
They live for appreciation. They live for this. It's not even the money because
Yeah.
there's not a lot of money in
it's
this stuff.
important to have as an artist, have a cheerleader. I mean, every night for actually since I've gotten divorced, I've been, which is 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I've been sitting in this studio doing music and rebuilding my studio. And recently I have my girlfriend Nicole, which I wanted to shout out that her father just passed,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
and her family are heartbroken, and it's really hard. We lost our dad, but she has been my muse. So she has sat with me via the phone a lot while I wrote some of my music, and she inspired me because I just wanted somebody to say, "What do you think?" You know, and that's important to an artist to have a cheerleader.
Yeah. Yes, I agree 100%. And certainly all you need is one person, you know, um, that loves your music. But
Yeah,
but to be able to now step into the social media, your social media is exploding. Everybody, millions of people are now asking for your music. I mean, what a beautiful time to get to now have an audience built in when you've decided to sort of switch your focus for however long to
well,
music.
I think Phil said it best. I said, "Well, we've made it in Rolling Stone, so I can die now." And Phil said, "You can't die." He says, "You can't die yet. You still have to sing the song, right?" you
Yeah.
know.
But isn't that
I,
the interesting thing about music, right? That we now have at our fingertips the ability to find songs that we never thought we would find. I remember when I was right before we moved to California, so I was in junior high in Baltimore, Maryland, and there was a song that they used to play all the time from this local Baltimore band. And that song had been stuck in my head for decades. And one day last year, I decided to find it. And I didn't know anything about the band name or anything. I just knew the song was about red shoes. So I typed in red shoes in Baltimore and I found the song.
oh, wow.
Um, that never would have happened when we were kids, right? Um, there were for my we were just I was just with my best friend and her family, and for her graduation, she got a new car, and we rode around in her car. Her mom had a Volkswagen Bug customized for her, and her friend who was her pen pal in Australia sent her this popular band. And I made her play this song over and over and over again. And 5 weeks after she got the car, she was in an accident coming to pick me up, and it
Uh,
got totaled, and the tape got melted in the deck.
oh my.
And I still think about that song, and she lost a lot of her memory from that year because of the
Oh.
accident, so she can't remember what the band was called or what the song was called, and I don't remember, and it drives me crazy. So I understand what these people were going
You
through
just
and
need to
what it felt like.
reach out to the people that found our song. They'll find it for
Yes,
you. They're
I don't
great.
remember anything about it except that it was amazing and I loved it so much. Um, but how amazing to get to find that song that's stuck in your brain that you love so much. And then to find out that the musicians are still creating, still making music, still here on the planet. I mean, you
Mhm.
you two have literally made so many people happy just through this.
I think
That's what they all say. The hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments or thousands of
I
comments
think
say the exact same thing. That you guys are so cool. You're so down to earth. You didn't
Yeah,
have to redo this song. You didn't have to
yeah,
take this seriously. You could have said, you're in a different part of your life, but you just went, hey, you made us feel this
I
feeling
think
about what we did 30
yeah,
plus
I
years
think Philip
ago.
and I went through a long time, and I want to quote. There was this electronic musician named Robert. He quoted something, and it's really beautiful. But he said, "I've been doing this music for 30 years or so. We've been doing it longer than 30 years." And he goes, "Never I had as many people love my music today than I did through my whole 30 years.
yeah.
But through my whole 30 years." I've had people say, "Why didn't you go get a real job?"
Mm.
And he said, "So you mean doing my music, making people happy, is not a real job?" And he goes, I'm going to continue to do that. And he said, it's tough financially. As you know, streaming pays a cup of coffee. You know,
Yeah.
we
Yes.
definitely made more. We definitely made more money licensing the song to a porn than we did on Spotify. I have
Of
to tell
course.
you that.
But now you
But
have a cup of coffee times 12 million people. So that's a lot of cups of coffee, my friend.
yeah, well, the price of coffee today, indeed.
And I think what we owe that community is that extra inspirational push to go in and listen to hunt for the song. It wasn't just about ulterior motives anymore. It was about the push to find that song for these people to say thank you. But it made us listen to 28 plus more songs that we recorded through the same time
We found 28 songs.
that are just as good and memorable and catchy and we looked at each other, and Chris said to the other day coming down, he went, "Man, we were good songwriters."
Yeah. Right.
And we said we got to put those songs out because if not now, when? And the thing about it is, and that we talked on an early interview that it's not about taking those songs and redoing them now or whatever, where you're just doing it could appear as a cash grab or 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 you know how they redoing 80s movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, The Exorcist, they just redo stuff.
Yeah.
This is actually putting it out when it had the real authentic passion behind it. The authentic moment of the writing of it and being in that era at that time is captured. So all we did with those songs, and Chris has been doing it all week, is remastering them so they sound better in the studio, but they're all original.
They were all recorded in 85.
You know, so the thing is, and there's been such a huge comeback of kids. Our kids want this 80s sound.
I've been posting a few snippets on TikTok and Instagram, and they all going, well, screw the song, release an album, release an album, release
Right.
an album.
Where's all of it? They want more of it from
Yeah,
the
so that's what we're going to attempt to do.
So it's going to be an interesting next few weeks to a month when we release the first of, we have enough for 3 albums, but the first, and then of course, what's the band called? What's the name of the band? They all said, we want to know what the name of the band. Chris sent out a bit of a survey to all these people. Well, these were kind of the bands that we were called back then. We couldn't remember whether we were T for Two, Who's Who, or Affair. But we found, which we posted on social media, what we believe we were called. Everybody used to come up to us and say, "Who's who?" Guess we're twins. So, and it was a picture of us in the studio with an animated piano player, and we were lying on the piano.
You live in LA still, so if you know the Village Recorder down in West LA, which is a big.
Sure.
Okay, that's where we recorded it. I used to work for the owner of Village Recorder back then, and he let us use his studio. So that's we met Robbie Robertson, Peter Gabriel, Pink Floyd, Ricky Lee Jones. I remember meeting her just like yesterday. So that's when we recorded those tracks. So that's kind of
I mean, there's so much trivia that brought back that we were picked up by producers back then, and it sounds funny, but they used to they drove us around in a convertible Rolls Royce to record companies, and they would have Chris and I singing each of their ears the harmonies to these songs that we're going to release, and the one that was so popular is so popular. And they would say, "You got to be the next Culture Club or the next this." The producers did Tiffany, I think we're alone now. These songs. So we're like the authentic 80s comeback without even
we were
knowing
like
it.
2 white British boys, and they wanted us to sound like the New Edition or Justin Timberlake vibe, and Madonna and Boy George, and which we loved. But they tried to make us sound more like New Edition, so they kept pitching the voice up, pitching the voice up, pitching the voice up, to eventually I sounded like a 13-year-old girl. But I was high anyway. I was not high, but I was a high.
That was a different time.
That was a different time. That was the 80s later. But before I got high, I was high. So
Then I got high.
and then I got high. But the 80s, I was a high singer because
Yeah.
I loved Scritti Politti, Boy
Oh,
George.
Scritti Politti was amazing. I'm amazed that I still hear Scritti Politti on the radio.
Yeah, everybody's saying that.
What was the song? And then they said, when they were searching for this song, they were saying, it sounds like, what's the guy's name?
Darren Hayes.
Love you madly, deeply.
The-
Savage
Oh,
Garden.
Garden, yeah.
Yes.
And then they submitted it, and then there was this small period of time that he attached his name to this song. And there's so much like controversy over this song of ours that it was written by this artist and it was this artist and
Oh,
this artist. We found it used in a Lay's potato chips commercial in Japan 3 years ago.
wow.
Now, why is this so incredible? Because if we're so in tune with the universe, going back to the theme of the show,
Yeah.
why did none of us
Because the time
pick
was,
any of this up
the time wasn't right.
through our hard times, our
For both
depressing times?
constant film that it wasn't the right time. It was
Yeah.
missing. And you literally
All
took
this was
the right-
going on. There
Time-
was an article in Rolling
Yeah.
Stone
Time
of
is
us
everything.
in November of 23, and we still did not even know.
Yeah. Well, sometimes
So-
you say to universe, I am ready to accept what's next.
Yeah, yeah.
And for you, Christopher, you were already spending a lot of time in the recording studio and prompting Philip to start playing guitar again. So you were already turning the energy towards that and telling universe you wanted this to be the next leg of your creativity. And then
You know,
thing just
something-
emerged.
Something that, you know, we've been on your show many times, which we love. And we usually talk mostly about paranormal. I have to say, I love that, you know, retrospect of it. But I felt I didn't want to leave my legacy as just being into the paranormal.
Yeah.
To me, as a human being and a person, I'm far much more than just paranormal.
Of course.
You know, and that was really
Yeah, we're abnormal.
yeah, we're abnormal, but
What did Mom used to say?
So close.
you do it, you do it. so well.
Mom used to say this. True. This is so true.
Okay.
Why can't you be normal? Why can't you fit in?
We could never do it, but
Could never do it.
I just think that the paranormal, especially with the new changes that the networks are going on and what they're doing, it didn't seem as sexy to us to continue doing the same thing. We will do it, but we're gonna do something epic. We don't want to do something that's just like, yeah, whatever. So music has taken us right.
And why do you think we do the Ohio State Reformatory as a big paranormal convention that got all the TV show guests that were on as celebrities? We go that we get swarmed by TikTokers asking for the song.
Right? By a giant clown. I mean, you never predicted
Well,
that.
that's Violent J. Violent J, if you know him.
I believe Insane Clown Posse is still doing it, and they're still wearing the clown makeup. That takes guts, and that's some endurance.
He was great. He was.
I can't believe how popular they still
Yeah,
are. Millions of
He was
99.
beautiful to me, and his girlfriend
99.
Sarah. She was really sweet. Everybody is really sweet, but we were overwhelmed by a lot of TikTokers and Reddit people and Lost Wave investigators came to that show to meet us. And that was really cool.
The first thing we did is we took that famous pink boombox
Yeah.
and put it in Ohio
We
State.
locked it in the prison.
In Ohio State Reformatory and played all
And played the
tunes.
song full
Oh.
blast.
Okay. Nice. That's fantastic. Well, and I think that communities go through different, and sometimes those phases are prompted by what's happening in commercial media. And I certainly think the introduction of commercial media into the paranormal community 10 and some years ago has changed the community a lot, because when suddenly money and power and fame get involved, a community changes. And I mean, I saw that happen in the 80s to our rock scene, right? As suddenly all those bands started getting signed and got super famous, that community changed. I mean, that's just what happens. Communities change. And I think the paranormal community right now is going through almost sort of a dark phase commercially, where everything's about find the demon, antagonize the demon. It's all kind of very negative stuff. And it hasn't always been that way. And I don't believe it will always be that way, but that's the phase it seems to me. I was just talking to a friend of mine last night who's a television producer, film producer, about this, that it's all gotten so nasty, and so somebody screaming at a haunted object, and it's just, I think for those of us that are trying to bring light into the world, we're not quite sure where we fit in and where that is going.
Well,
And
I think you do love in a way because you're one of the most beautiful persons I've ever met and
Thank you.
spiritual. And I know that we connected the very moment we talked, which is
Yes.
the first time. And I realized, and we just did an interview before we did Darkness Radio right before that with Tim. You know Tim Dennis, I think. Yeah, he's a
Sure.
beautiful, beautiful guy. So it's like this. When you're not trying to be paranormal or looking or
Mm,
even being spiritual, that's the most time you become spiritual and paranormal
mhm.
because they feel, oh, I just want to be with you because you're positive. I want that. I love your energy. I love the music and I'm feeling it. Then they try to communicate because they're already dead and lost. They
Yes.
don't want to be with people that just want to be about dead and lost and be all about, I'm a paranormal investigation. I'm all about the dead. And they spend so much time with the dead that they forget to live. And
Yeah.
then they're dead. They
Yes.
die,
Yeah.
because tragedies happen. So the best time is to be you and don't have a closed mind and it's all around you. Like we have ghosts as engineering for us now. They're gonna mix for us and play
I'm
keyboards.
sure.
I
Yes.
know that.
Catch some wicked EVPs on those recordings.
Yes, I'm sure. I'm
Because that's
positive of it.
so many people. There's so many stories of people catching EVPs on recordings, because it's, you open a microphone, right, and you're inviting the ethers to come in and participate in the song.
We got a really good EVP when we just did we were walking through the OSP. One of our fans who's a sweetheart, I'm quite a sense of humor, so a British sense of humor could get me into trouble. But we're joking, and our fans just love it, and we're joking back and forth. And right in the middle, this guy says, "I'm watching you."
Oh,
It
yeah.
was great. It was awesome because that is the time that you can feel the energy. And I didn't have to take it negatively, even though you're in a prison. And we actually did our lecture in the shower. So I think our troubles were, yeah, our troubles were behind us, if you know what I mean.
It was
Yeah.
interesting because they asked us, Sheena, because we've done a lot of your shows, they asked us to put together a retrospective reel of the best evidence and scenes from all our films. And I thought, God, that's going to be really hard, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and I did. And I watched it. And I have to say that we have done some amazing, amazing stuff. I think we've been doing paranormal off and on for over, what, 20?
2006, we officially released Spooked. So there you go.
Yeah, so that's what, 18 years?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
2000.
And so it was quite something to do that. And
Yes. Oh, I
just
bet.
to see the state of what is out now offering people that are really into the paranormal. These TV shows are all the same. They act the same. They show the same. It's just, nothing is like, do you know, there's such over commercialism. There was always the Pink Floyds. There was always the Alan Parsons or the great landmark albums that you would look forward to
Yeah.
from these
the
great,
Beatles, yeah.
yeah, these great
Prince,
people.
yeah.
And then there was all this
Junk.
one hit wonders, one hit wonders, one hit wonders. To me, this paranormal stuff has all become all the same. So I'm wondering now, when you go into the spiritual sense of it with spirits, that they're reacting the same way to it as well. Like, are you serious? You're
Yeah.
all asking me the same question. I don't want to talk about why I'm dead. I want to enjoy what I have through you, like your vibrance that you bring into it. You all come in so serious and all sitting staring at a light flash. To me, if I was a ghost, that'd be really boring. Where compared to somebody who's
Yeah.
really there to talk to me or really share what they're going through
Well,
with somebody
yeah,
on a personal one-on-one basis, right?
actually care what they're feeling instead of trying to make um, a, a star out of the ghost hunters become stars instead of realizing it's about the paranormal spirit world and you're trying to help them cross over. So
Mm.
important.
I mean, I think we're so wrapped up in gadgets, watching lights blink or trying to do this stuff. I think that stuff is amazing to document proof that there's something going on. But
Like, ask me to hit a bell. I'm just gonna say, I'm not your monkey. I'm not your horse.
Right.
Ask me something first. Ask me something that's I need help with.
but I think that we've lost the sense of it all, and it's all become a gimmick and a thing. And I think that, of course, that applies in anything, whether it's music, film, paranormal, whatever. I think you've got to think outside the box and think with your heart. Like with this thing with the music for us, the way that it has been presented to us on a platter, but it's so much love and support for what we did so long ago, really only reinstates what we believed in at that time for the passion we put into that music. If we were to do it now without a knowledge of that existing, I think it wouldn't have the power that it's going to have right now. And our movies represent that.
I agree 100%. Yeah, I mean, I think that, I'm so lucky that I'm the medium, so no one expects me to have gear in my hand. But to me, it's not about that. It's about walking into a place, whether it's a notably haunted place, just somebody's house, and feeling what's there and having a communication with it and bringing love to it. And even when it's negative, trying to bring love to it. Um, the whole idea of like capturing everything and asking it the same 10 questions over and over again. That's like when you do those horrible interviews where people ask you the same 10 questions over and over again. I would imagine night after night.
Yeah, talk about
That's
that.
so
We go
boring.
on to TikTok and onto Instagram and we say, this is the update of the song, this is what we're doing, and this is it. And then right after they say, so what's happening with the song? It's like, okay, nobody's reading it. It's like, yo, dude,
That's,
I'm trying to say this is what's happening. And then immediately after that, somebody comes out and goes, so what's happening with the song?
right.
The
Exactly.
same bloody 10 questions all the
Right.
time.
How
You
did you
know?
die? Are you a little girl? Did somebody kill you? Are you going to scratch me? I mean, we ask these spirits the same dumb things over. Can you make the light up? Can you? And I think it's even become boring to watch. Like I'm bored watching those same questions being asked.
I get an EV. Can you stick your finger up your bum, Mr. Ghost
There,
Hunter? You know what I mean?
want to ask when you do your talk from the shower. You want to say, "Can you drop the ghost soap?" Because that's
No.
drop the ghost soap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, our troubles are behind us in that time. I tell you. No.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know. I think that industry, if because they've turned it into one, they really have.
yeah.
If you watch Max, it certainly shows that everything is cookie cutter. Everything is identical.
Right.
There's a lot of beautiful people we meet. I'm not putting any specific
Absolutely.
person down at all. I'm just saying that it's become cookie cutter. There's nothing fresh. And I would ask any paranormal investigator this simple question: what have we learned or what have we gained in proof of existence of ghosts in the last 40 years that's of any significance?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Watch
Yeah.
our movies.
Yeah.
Because when I was watching our clips play one after another in the presentation without tooting our own horns, I've never seen anything that on one of these television shows.
Yeah.
And we're not even ghost hunters.
Right.
We're just documentarians who dig really deep into the emotion, stirring that up, talking to the how it affects the human spirit, not so much
Yeah.
as the dead spirit, but the living spirit. And it somehow seems to manifest the evidence compared to these I think it's become too technical.
I think it's like, Sheena, when you walk into a room, I want to talk to you because you have a beautiful, compassionate, empathic way about you. And I could feel comfortable even telling you things I would tell nobody else. I think a spirit world is the same. They know
Yeah.
when you walk in and what you're up to,
Yeah.
whether you're going to exploit, provoke, or literally lie and make up stuff. And I think they know a good person, like an animal knows a good person from a bad, like a dog knows that, you know.
Yes.
That's what I think. So that's all
And
about.
I don't think a paranormal investigation should feel like a DMV test,
No,
a driver's test. And
no.
I think we've gotten way too technical. We've lost the whole point of why we're
And the
doing
fun
it.
of it.
Because
Yeah.
Or that it's become so results oriented that we feel like if we don't get this, 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 and this, like if a demon doesn't poke us in the eye, it was a lousy experience.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
just like,
because
why isn't this happening? Remember, I was doing an investigation with some YouTubers that I work with, and they had some other guys come in, another team come in, and we took them through this house in my hometown. And this guy was getting really like, why isn't anything happening? Why isn't enough stuff happening? Why aren't I seeing more things? And this spirit literally got angry in the house because he was saying some inflammatory things to the spirit of the house. And this spirit moved right through him and scared the living crap out of him. I mean, he was shaking because, you don't mess with them, because when they need to show you who's in charge, they will. And I think sometimes we don't understand that we've set ourselves up that if we don't have a certain kind of horror show experience, that it's not worth being there. And that's not really what it's about. It's
well,
about
you can thank the network TV shows, cookie cutter TV shows for that, because the YouTuber paranormal shows are nothing but night vision, fake screaming, running, doors banging, whatever. And we've forgotten the real reason why we're doing this
yeah.
is if we can prove that there's life beyond death, that is a question of our own mortality, that there's more than just what we see physically there.
You want Edwin Lorraine Warren, Hans Holzer, Johnny Zappers. These
Mhm.
guys are like genuine and really cool, and I'd love to see the League of Paranormal Gentlemen come back into it
Yes,
and
it will.
get serious again. A seasoned people get very serious.
It will. We'll make it happen. But right now, you guys got to go be rock stars for a while.
Again.
We never stop being rock stars, darling.
So happy for this experience. I love you both so much. And I can't wait to find out where we go from here to do the follow up and maybe bring some new music, some new old music here. I would love it. Where can people find you online? And let's do this again soon.
Christopher St. Booth on Instagram, on Facebook, Christopher St. B on TikTok, which I never thought I would be on TikTok, but it's too much to say no to. SpookTV.com is our website. Our
Beautiful.
films are everywhere. We have 11 films and documentaries streaming, Amazon, Apple TV, Tubi, Flex, all of them.
So awesome.
And Philip Adrian Booth.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook still. And everybody goes, I don't see all these TikTokers. I don't see your brother on TikTok. I'll get there. I'll get on TikTok. I promise I will. I'm on Instagram though.
He also accepts hard mail, so you can post him mail.
Oh,
You guys remember what
okay.
mail is? Yeah. And he
You
has an
little
old phone that attaches to the wall.
Put and send it to Phil.
Yeah, yeah. Or you can put it in a bottle and throw it in the water and he'll get it. Yeah.
I'll get there. I'll get there.
I love and adore you both so much. Thank you so much for being here and being
Thank
part
you,
of
love.
Thank you. God bless. Bye
the
bye.
Booth for St. Booth, Philip Adrian Booth. What a joy to have. Don't forget to visit me at sheenametalspiritual.com and at Sheena Metal everywhere on social media. Send me a text message and we'll get in touch. I'm just sitting here on my bed with my legs in the air. 818-437-0886. Text me 818-437-0886. Thanks to my wonderful engineer and producer, Emery, the wind beneath my wings, and to my friend, Tony Sweet, the owner and operator of Parapod TV, for letting us be part of your paranormal family. Until I see you next time, seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration, and know that you are loved and you are loved and you're so loved by me. I'll see you next time. Be good to you every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Pacific, right here on Parapod TV. I'm Sheena Metal. This is the Sheena Metal Experience. Namaste, and I'll see you next week.